Hello, everyone. It's Shane Conto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the Streaming Wasteland here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where every Friday I pick one streaming service and pick three previously released films off of it. And hopefully, by the end of this episode, you'll have three films to fill up your weekend. And I'm going to continue my streak of picking all spooky horror films and alike for the month of October, and we're going to be looking at Peacock. And starting off is 1996's From Dusk Till Dawn. And this dark comedic vampire flick from director Robert Rodriguez, who certainly has his own stamp of directorial flair, visceral, raw, and pulpy as hell. And this film is basically two kinds of stories. And one is it starts off with this crime thriller, as you have the Gecko brothers, George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino, who are on the run and take control of this family led by Harvey Keitel and daughter played by Juliette Lewis. And this part of the film is still engaging. It's interesting. Tarantino's character's a little too word for me, but Clooney is charismatic. Harvey Keitel is really giving a strong performance, and Juliette Lewis stands out as well. And it engages you enough until you show up to this very specific bar, have a snake dance from Selma Hayek, and then things turn chaotic when everybody turns out to be vampires. And you're stuck in this crazy, campy, vampiric horror flick. You have the likes of Cheech Marin and Danny Trejo, Tom Savini, Fred Williamson, Michael Parks, so many fun character actor familiar faces popping up here. And it has great practical effects and makeup and gory and just campy and fun, very like Mexican vampiric metal kind of horror flick coming your way. And honestly, that's kind of Robert Rodriguez's vibe. And this is such a fun, pulpy flick that you could have tons of fun with. And it takes that big swing, shifting with its genres mid-film, but overall, it's such an enjoyable and fun experience and a perfect film to check out for this time of year. Next up, this is going to be one of the more recent films that I picked uh for this series up to this point, and it's 2015's, which crazy to think this is 10 years old, is M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit. And this was really the film that Shyamalan came back from After Earth and Last Airbender and films like that to be like, hey, I can still do it. And you have this film with two siblings become increasingly frightened by their grandparents' disturbing behavior while visiting them on vacation. And this found footage horror flick is very much a Shyamalan feel, but it's an interesting twist having that found footage. And honestly, it has a couple of really strong performances from Deanna Dunnigan and Peter McRobbie as the grandparents, and you even have Catherine Hahn, who is the mother who we see through like FaceTime and video chats and stuff like that. It's staged well, it's shot well, it has plenty of suspense. It's eerie and weird when the grandparents are acting weird in the middle of the night. And it has a fun little twist on what exactly is going on. And, grandma's rules, have a great time, eat as much as you want, don't ever leave your rooms after 9:30 p.m. And it's a fun, high concept, little darkly comedic B horror movie. It has a lot of things going for it. It's a fine little flick that showed that Shyamalan still had something in the tank. And obviously, we've had a lot more fun since then with some of his films, but and not so much with some of the others. But that's Shyamalan for sure. And this is a fun little film that it's a nice 95-minute diversion that I think you can have a good time with for the holiday season for sure. And lastly, we're going to wrap things up with a great Hitchcock classic. Not one of my favorites, but it is 1963's The Birds. This is quite the iconic avian horror flick from Alfred Hitchcock himself, based off of Daphne du Maurier's story. And this stars Tippi Hedren and Rod Taylor and Jessica Tandy as we have a film that, similar to Till Dusk Till Dawn, it's kind of a film of two parts. This starts with this romance. A wealthy San Francisco socialite pursues a potential boyfriend to a small Northern California town that slowly takes a turn for the bizarre when birds of all kinds suddenly start killing people and attacking them. And you do have the parts that I think the romantic elements of the first half of the film are solid. You have Tippi Hedren, you have Rod Taylor. They're both very charismatic people, and, that goes a long way for sure. But when the birds start happening, there is one particular you find a dead body, and it's absolutely terrifying visual. And then there's some very brutal moments because Hitchcock sicked these birds on Tippi Hedren for real, and that's pretty messed up. And obviously, some of the effects have dated a bit since then, but this very unnerving kind of setup where it's very nature comes after humanity, and the second half of this film has plenty of thrills, even all the way up to the unnerving final moments of the film where we just see birds as far as the eye can see, perched, waiting. And you have such a charismatic cast with Hedren, Taylor, Tandy, that it goes a long way in making this effective. You even have Veronica Cartwright as the young girl, and Susanna Pleshett as well, who's kind of like the third wheel in this romance at the beginning of the film. And this is a really effective setup and really elevates by a horrifying, unnerving, suspenseful ride the second half of this film that really punctuates exactly what Hitchcock is going for in this story. It is crazy creature feature for sure, with a very familiar grouping of creatures, just not exactly how you see them. But that is a wrap here on another episode of the Streaming Wasteland. Let's do a little summation. So you're going to head over to Peacock and pick out some fun films this weekend with 1996 From Dusk Till Dawn, and then 2015's The Visit, and finally 1963's The Birds. Happy Halloween. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What's your favorite Robert Rodriguez flick? What's your favorite Shyamalan? And what's your favorite Hitchcock? Just throwing them all out there. There you go. And make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding. We have so many great shows, a variety of different types of interests, especially if you love movies, there's plenty of those. And if you want to join the crew, whether being a guest on one of these shows or being like hosting your own show and starting your own podcast, reach out to us on our website. If you like our logo, check out HiFlyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. Most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Streaming Wasteland here on the SPM Crew Podcasting Network.